We hope and we pray that this journey will continue with blessings of all of you, with prayers of all of you who are present here. I am indeed very honored to introduce an extraordinary personality by the name of Dr. Shomali, Islam, Muslim, a great Muslim scholar, academic, religious leader, and I thank him. Originally from Tehran, Islamic daughter of Iran, and then he studied in the Islamic Seminary of Qom, of Qom, the Islamic sciences, and then he also achieved his master's in Western philosophy from University of Tehran. After that, he also did his PhD from University of Manchester, and very, interesting topic was their ethical relativism. And then, of course, his postdoctoral research on ethical issues related to life and death. He moved to UK, to London, where he headed a number of Islamic institutes, including, of course, Islamic Center of England, a very important and extraordinarily active center in UK, where he promoted again the same values of common good, peace, love, and justice. He has played a very important role in promoting interfaith dialogue, and I would like to say a great deal of academic work has been done by him and his team, along with, of course, the Christian leadership in this regard. You heard partly when we heard Father William speaking about his journey of interfaith or interreligious dialogue. His publications, it's a long list in front of me, and I don't want to take your time. If you Google, you will be able to find Dr. Shomali with thousands of YouTube lectures. Last night I was speaking about the number of lectures on YouTube available. He mentioned approximately 4,500 lectures. I don't know the number of books printed, his different works which is published in academic journals, in different universities, very well recognized universities of different parts of the world. More, of course, the Western universities, the European universities, and so on. And of course, he continues to be a humble servant of God. That's how I would like to summarize. That's what my understanding of my elder, my senior, my teacher, Dr. Shomali, humble servant of God, trying to serve his creation. Dr. Shomali.
Assalamu alaikum, peace be with you. In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful, I am very grateful to God for giving me the blessing of being here with you in this sacred place, this chapel, which is dedicated to the remembrance of God. And I think what we are doing is an instance of remembrance of God, who is God of all of us, and who wants us also to be all united. I thank all people who helped in organizing this event. I thank all the guests who accepted the invitation and are present. I thank also all members of our 11th round of Catholic Share Dialogue that I wish I had time to introduce each one properly. But we have guests from Canada, from Senegal, from Germany, from South Africa, from Tanzania, from US, and from Imam. I hope I didn't miss anyone. And Kenya.
Yes.
this shows their commitment that despite their busy lives, they all travel long distance to come to South Africa. Father William helped in mentioning some of the details about our program. So I try to give you a little quick introduction to how we were involved in this dialogue, Catholic dialogue, and then, maybe more importantly, some of the reflections that over time we came to develop and understand, and we try hard to implement. We have a short clip that, if it's ready, maybe we can watch now. It's a quick review of the first 9 months of Catholic dialogue, and then I can maybe continue, but hopefully with this clip you have a better understanding of the context.
Well, Irish scholars like they often said, no matter what young Iranian Imam here who wants to visit Amazon, and can he come and visit? I said, of course. That was the first meeting with Shomali and I.
Our relation kept growing. So in 2000, Albert Timothy Wright told me, Mohammed, are you happy to give a talk on Islam?
I asked him to come and speak to the monks. Now, this is rural North Yorkshire. Anything outside Yorkshire is off. So I said to the monks, I said, I asked an Iranian, very high quality Iranian sheikh, he'll talk to you on Islam. They went, what? The most conservative monk in that group who came to me afterwards and said, that was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
1997 or 98, when for the first time I came here. He very warmly welcomed me. I can say he was very loyal to prayer, and always, whenever we had meeting, very important part of the plan was that it should be the atmosphere of prayer. And he was thinking that this is great contribution of monastic life to our dialogue. I pray to God that the dreams that he had for this dialogue, the dream for unity around God and prayer for God, would be established. And I hope whatever he achieved would remain, and whatever he was going to finish, God would finish for him. We also pray for community here that we be able to continue with ease, with clarity and wisdom, the work that has been done by me and other people here. Thank you.
This was the award he received from the House President for the work for them. So we send our salutations to the souls of Haidar Haidar North and Haidar Pretoria, who are great members of our campaign. So, without any training, without any mandate, without even any advice, when I was in Manchester for my PhD, and I was very busy as a foreign student with my PhD, and also I was asked to lead the Shia community in one of the centers there, which was mostly used by Iranians and some Iraqis. I thought this is a golden opportunity for me to know more about Christianity. In seminary and Oxford University, we have courses on Christianity, Christian theology. But in my life, I have never lived with Christians. Because in Iran, we don't have large population of Christians. And so I thought now I should use this opportunity to know more about Christianity as lived and practiced. And as you know, Manchester is a kind of secular environment. And in the 90s, there were no many foreign initiatives for interreligious dialogue. So we had difficulty in finding people that are first practicing Christians. Because for us, it's a practicing and committed Christian that would be good for dialogue. And if a Christian doesn't practice faith, then they cannot really understand what is Christianity about. So people who are practicing and people who are open for dialogue. So finally what happened was my wife had a friend in Italy who knew Focolare movement. And she asked her, are the Focolare in the UK as well? And we were introduced to Focolare in the UK, and one of them came and visited us in Manchester. And then we were invited to a day meeting at the University of Hope in Liverpool. And that was the first time we attended a Christian gathering. And we were away from Imam, which is a religious country. We were in a very secular society. And we were amazed by love of people there for God. It didn't, distract us that they are Christians. We felt genuine love for God. And next to me, a priest was sitting, who was also a Benedictine monk, and also a friend of Focolare, the late Father Jonathan Cotton.
So this is the first time in my life I'm sitting next to a priest and monk. But thanks to God, I never felt, that I am in a kind of difficult environment. I'm sitting to someone who's my rival or enemy, etc. I felt I'm sitting to someone like me. I told him I come from a seminary background, and you also have some religious background and seminary background. Is there any way I can visit a Christian seminary so that we know each other more and we can learn from each other? And he suggested to visit Aftab. And he said this is not a seminary but a place for formation of monks. He was from the same community. So we visited Aftab family together, and then that led to friendship with Abba Timothy Wright, the community, talking there, then inviting Abba Timothy to Imam. And this Catholic Shia dialogue started. The first one was July 2003, and from round 4, monastic interreligious dialogue was the partner and help Father William in particular played a great role. So this is just one line of many lines of dialogue and friendship with Christianity, and especially with the Catholic Church that developed, but also I have relation with some Protestant Christians in particular, for example, with the Mennonites in North America. We have had many rounds of dialogue, and we have very good friendship with the Anglican Church. But with the Catholic Church is much more. The level of the work, quantity-wise and quality-wise, that we have done. And on the side of our relation with the Benedictines and monks and nuns, our relation with Focolare also grew, especially from 2015, which was a historical moment after many, many years of knowing each other. I took for a second time a group of our sisters, some of them are here, for 4-week formation, observing formation in Lopiano, which is very small, but beautiful and spiritual in Italy. And then we embarked on a very important project which is very dear to our hearts, Winds of Unity, with Sofia University, which is founded by the late Chiara, who was a very fascinating lesson that she founded. And we so far have had 2 rounds of Winds of Unity with our Focolare friends in Sofia University. And God willing, in a matter of a week, we are going to have, at the 13th round of Winds of Unity, we have had Weeks of Unity in Italy and Kenya to tell people about our understanding of unity. So now it has been more than 25 years, maybe 27 years of my serious involvement in Christian-Muslim dialogue. I am open to other kinds of dialogue, but my main speciality or interest is dialogue among Muslims and Christians, and most particularly Catholics and Shia. And I think this is something that it has its own theological reasons in addition to the facts. So, over these 27 years, I was not just a practitioner of interreligious dialogue or organizer or participant. I have always been thinking very hard what theological and spiritual implications this work has for me as a Shia Muslim, and what God wants from us. Unfortunately, many times we think of God as a Muslim God or as a Christian God. And it's very difficult for us to understand God as someone who is not Muslim or Christian, who is universal. It doesn't mean that all these religions are the same for God. All religious communities are the same for God. No, every individual is different. Every person is unique for God. So we don't want to say God is universal and then we are all the same. No, but we want to say He is so great and so high that despite the differences and maybe even preferences, maybe someone is more pious, maybe someone less pious, but we are all for God, His children. And God doesn't want us to bring our partitions to His level. God doesn't want us to understand His will based on our experiences and our limited knowledge. So sometimes I use this example. I say, imagine your grandfather has several children. One child is your father. Your father has his own family. Then your uncle, your cousin, etc. Each family, like your family, family of your uncle, your aunt, they have their own relations. And they always look at the family of the uncle and the aunt as another family which they may love. They may, be very close to each other. But that is another family. My home and their homes are different. But for your grandfather, you are all one family. Your grandfather doesn't look at his children and family of the children as different families. He said they are all one family. They can see, maybe your father, grandfather, grandmother can see differences. Maybe one child is more loyal to him, more close to him, but still all of them are one family. So we are all family of God. We are all children of God. And the more we rise towards God, the more we are able to have godly vision of other realities. The more we are down to ourselves, the more difficult it is to have godly vision. One of the things that we find about people who are very close to God in Islamic literature is that God says these are the people who look at my creature in the way that I look at them. A real mystic is the one who can look at people from God's eye. So, what we normally do is, unfortunately, we bring God to our level. We say, God is God of my sect, God of my religion, God of my tribe, God of my nation. So we make God a tribal God. A tribal God can give you instruction to destroy other tribes and add to your own land, because a tribal God. So some of the worst things can happen when religious people put their ego and selfishness in the mouth of God and the scriptures, and they can try to interpret everything as suits their own interests. So, when God is brought to a level of human beings become tribal, sectarian God, it is not real God, and it can be actually very dangerous. But we need to rise towards God. We can belong to different nations, different tribes, different sects, denominations, and religions, but become man or woman of God who has concern for every human being. For God, every creature is special, is unique. And we need to help people go towards God, not towards our tradition. So one of the things that I have learned over these years is that we should learn how to listen to God together. So in Catholic dialogue, I was prepared for them discussing this in Wings of Unity project with our Pretoria, that now after so many years of friendship, trust, love, dialogue, we need to go further. We shouldn't have dialogue forever. Dialogue is too bitter. Some people talk about tolerance. I think tolerance is even actually sometimes, disrespectful to say that we should tolerate each other. Maybe wolves should tolerate each other, but human beings should love each other, not tolerate each other. But I say even dialogue is not enough. Sometimes I use this example. I say, a man and woman who may want to explore the possibility of marriage, they may meet and have dialogue. But marriage is not just about dialogue. Marriage is to build unity. We Muslims and Christians can have dialogue, but it's not enough. Dialogue is just the start, to warm up, to see how much God has put among us that makes us united. All the differences are there. We don't want to dilute our faith, we don't want to compromise, but if you are going to remember one sentence from me, please remember this sentence. God is so great and so high and so central that in addition to unity of God, nothing else should matter to us. If anyone says God is 80% important for me, 20% are other things, this is to underestimate God. If I share with you God, how much I share with you? Everything. For a person whose life is centered around God, everything is God. Yes, then it's a matter of how to respond to God, how to pray to God, how act according to the will of God. Those are all coming later. But the main thing is God should be the center of our life, the reason for our life. So I find my Christian brothers and sisters who have dedicated their life to God closer to me than my family members who may not have devoted their life to God. Even if they share with me my faith, my language, everything, even if they share my DNA. But if they have not devoted their life to God, they are not as close to me as my Christian brothers and sisters or Sunni brothers and sisters who have devoted their life to God. So, we have to get together around God, who is absolute truth, who is absolute beauty. And if you are really attracted to God, there is no way not to be a voice of unity. Any person who is attracted to God brings light to this world, hope to this world, unity and peace and fraternity to this world. You don't find any man of God who would be dividing people, who would be saying this part of humanity is important, the rest is not important. These are better than others, they are superior than others. There is no place for discrimination or racism or anything like that for people of God. So, in 2017, when we had the 7th round of Catholic Shia Dialogue, our theme was unity of God and unity in God. By the passage of time, we understand this better and better. If I really understand unity of God, it should then be implemented in unity among people. You cannot say, I am a monotheist, but I don't bother about unity among people. Unity of God must be echoed in unity of mankind. So thanks to God, when we had a public event like this in Kenya, because we were meeting in Sobiago Center for Benedictine sisters, we have Sister Lucina here. But on the side, we had 2 half-day programs at the University of Tangaza, which is founded by religious orders. And the theme was unity of God and unity in God. When we shared with them the good news of love and friendship built over years, and we talked about unity of God and unity in God, our brothers in Tangaza University, they said, every year we should have something under this motto, unity of God and unity in God. We have started having conferences, and then we started having training course on Islam and Christianity. Everything we planned, taught, was by us and Tangaza together in fellowship. I mean, right now, Father Innocent from Tangaza is in court. For the second time, he's in court. Up to last summer we have had 5 annual courses in Tangaza. 5 annual courses. COVID was not there to be much more. For 3 weeks, Muslim and Christian live together, study together, eat together, and the motto is unity of God and unity in God. So, we have made this for many years now. This is my last point. In our institute in Com, because I'm based in UK, but still I continue International Institute for Islamic Studies in Com, which is for training clerics for international activities. And also I have online students from different countries, mostly from North America, and I have students in London. But no matter which institute, which platform they use, for many years we have made this part of our formation, that they must experience living with Christians. They must travel with us to either it's Italy or it's Kenya or Switzerland. We have done with the World Council of Churches, the Focolare, or in other countries. Even we went to Brazil, we went to Argentina together. So any person who is learning from this humble servant of God, Islam or Shia Islam, must also learn how to implement unity of God and unity in God, especially in Christian-Muslim relations. Because we don't teach in our community something, and then when we meet, Christians say something else. Some people may do that, when it's the community, they don't talk about dialogue, etc. But when they are in public, they talk about dialogue. No. We have one consistent way of formation. We need to make this part of what every monk, every nun, every priest, every imam, every sheikh is learning how to look at unity of God among ourselves. How to live together as servants of the same God. How to be witnesses for God. We need to be joint witnesses for God. And not only joint witnesses of God, I believe that we should have collective sainthood. I say sometimes to our Christian brothers and sisters and Shia brothers and sisters, in the course of history, God has inspired many saints. God has inspired Christian saints. I accept as a Muslim that God may inspire even today, after Islam, a Christian saint, a Jewish saint. God can inspire any person that He chooses. God has inspired also some Muslims. I would benefit from wisdom that God has given to any person. I don't discriminate, I don't say no. I love wisdom only when it comes from Muslims or from Shia. No. Any wisdom I love, and I'm thirsty. But I think there is a wisdom that God has not yet given anyone. Neither Muslims nor Christians. And that is the wisdom that we need for establishing universal fraternity. This wisdom has not been given to anyone so far. And I believe this is too great to be given to one saint from one tradition. It's only when we are together and united and join our hearts and create a collective sainthood that God will inspire that collective sainthood to understand how to implement God's plan for universal fraternity. So I don't wait for a Shia to understand that or a Catholic to understand that. I wait for a group of Shia, Sunni, Christians, Jews, whatever God can choose, who are united with each other, who love each other. There is no trace of ego, even no religious ego, is in their hearts, and then God can inspire them how to move towards universal fraternity. May God use each of you for His plan for unity. May each of you become voices and forces for unity, and may God help us to be in this journey together. This is a journey that you cannot travel alone. Thank you very much.
Shomali